Rising. Oh, there we are. Grand Rising.
Grand
Nonprofits, entrepreneurs. Grand Rising, Brooklyn.
Hi, how are
Beautiful
you?
Saturday.
I'm great. It's a beautiful, beautiful day over here. I got my tea. It's still too hot to drink, but it's cooling off, so I'm doing good.
Yes. Mine's just cooled off. We made the best little. I love some good tea. We got to have some tea together. Just
Yay.
last week, which was awesome. That was so wonderful to have that physical time because that's been a missing piece during this whole, year and a half kind of sort of. So that was so
Yes.
much fun. And for us coming and doing that right when the mask mandate was lifting and all that stuff, it was like a whole different world. I was like, what's going on now?
Yes, Florida is lit. So if you guys have been in the house and you need somewhere to go,
Florida is lit. It's like you guys will be on a whole nother island or something like that. It's crazy.
The
So come
vibe
on,
was
you
perfect.
guys, share where you're coming in from. I'm gonna have Brooklyn do introduce herself if you haven't seen her last week. Guys, she came on last week, but we were having some tech difficulties, and so we were in a different area with different Wi-Fi with a lot of people trying to use the Wi-Fi, and so we're coming in back. Luckily, she was able to come back on here and be able to give those branding tips because really, branding can really make or break your organization. It really can. You're always constantly marketing and branding, and the way that you come off is a pure reflection in whether or not people want to donate to you or they want to purchase your service. Because if you don't put a lot of time into your products and services and the way everything appears all together, what makes you think someone's going to trust you to be able to do some type of service or to donate to or to do, to work with you? They want to see those branding aspects. So come on in, say hi, and where you're calling from. Hey, hubby. Of course, he's here. That's some support, y'all. That's some support. He goes support.
Yes. And your husband, his spirit was amazing too. That's one thing I love about you guys. You guys are truly a power couple, and I got to see that during my time in Florida. And some power couples they present we're a power couple, but you guys didn't have to say it. Your essence said it. It was like we support each other. We got each other's back. We're right at that. So of course, Robert is gonna be coming again.
Right. That's right. And I will tell you from my relationship journey, that it's a lot of people can say it, but to actually come through and do it, that is something that's few and far in between. Oh, she's gonna say thank you, Brooklyn.
You're welcome, King Robert. You got you a queen, boo. You married up, yes. As they say, married up.
That's right. That is right. And it feels good. It feels good to have someone you can support and they can support and have that reciprocal relationship.
Exactly.
Where you pour into
and it's like, I like to get a relationship where we both feel like we married up. I feel like I married up.
Yeah, that's how it is.
You married up. And what I mean by that is we both really add value. And I don't think that just goes for your marriage relationships. I think that goes for relationships as a whole.
That's right.
And we're going to even talk about how that's going to affect Brandon today. So this is going to be a fun conversation.
Yes, it is. Well, let's go ahead and start digging right in here. And as you guys are coming in, tell me where you're coming in from. Tell me if you have a challenge when it comes to branding. If you have a challenge or a question, this is your time to ask it. When did you start falling in love with the creative process and with branding and with, just that whole area?
I think my whole life has been a creative process, first and foremost. Let's just start there. I have been creative for a long time. And I have been creative for one reason, because I just naturally enjoy being creative, just to be honest with you. But the other part is sometimes life will force you to be creative.
Yes. That's true.
Like that muscle. And then as I became an entrepreneur and as I became a businesswoman, I really started to understand, like, oh, this is really important and this is a thing. And actually it came through me by trial and error. I had a love for beauty and fashion and hair, and I had a love for seeing women be bold and confident and fierce and all of that. And I was always like the one, like, yes, push through, sis, get them. I just always wanted to see my women being bold. And so I started off actually having a hairline and selling hair. And that was like the first thing that I really branded, like really, really branded. And so I started off branding my own baby. I wanted women to feel fierce. And so I wanted to give that message across, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I started thinking about the women that I was reaching out to and what problem I was solving for them and what made them want to support the business and to get hair from me. And so I started doing these photo shoots, but I didn't necessarily want my shoots to be like everyone else, you
Mm-hmm.
know, every other hair company. So I would really go out of the box and show personality with that. I also pitched a hit reality show for my family that went on to Bravo TV to be a really successful show. And I knew going in that I didn't want to be like some of the reality stars that you see that they go on there and they just have a bad brand for themselves. When you think of this person's name, you just think of drama,
Mm-hmm.
you think of chaos, you just think of that. I didn't want to be attached to that, but I knew that I was called and destined to be on television. So I had to figure out branding and I had to figure it out quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I did not have a choice. It was on the job
Training. You was like, uh-oh, here it comes.
Yes. And so I was successful in actually branding my hair company in a positive light that represent women all from all around the world who maybe had some challenges, didn't have the best fairy tale story, you know, maybe might have had a child young, maybe might have went through some things, maybe might have went through some abuse, but they overcame all of that to still walk into their purpose, to still walk into their destiny, and to be fabulous, and to still smile, even if they had to smile through the middle of their situation. And so that was my brand. That was really what I brought to the table with my hairline. And that really resonates in a lot of the things that I do to this day. I believe that your brand can follow you from business to business if it's truly in alignment with who you are at the core.
Absolutely, and that's definitely what aligns when it comes with influencers and things like that. People fall in love. A lot of times, you fall in love with the person, and you just trust the things that are coming out of their mouth. I know for me, there's a young lady. Her name is Earth Mama, and she's all about natural. You follow Earth Mama?
I just got on her.
Shut up, girl! I love me some Earth Mama, and she has all. She just all is all about natural teas, cleansing teas. I have some of her teas that need to be taken right now. She has a line of yoni steams as well, and she's just all about health and nutrition, veganism, all of those things. And I've just grown a relationship with her through following her to where anytime it's her favorites or something like that, it saves me the work of having to go through and do the research because I just trust that relationship. And that's what strong branding is, isn't it?
Yes, that's exactly what strong branding is. That strong branding builds trust. And it builds an organic connection, right? It evokes emotion in the audience that's connected to it. So you have an emotional connection because you feel like you guys are in alignment, right? So you're like, okay, probably 9 out of 10, most of the products that she's using are products that I'm going to like.
Absolutely.
Because you trust it. And so that is crucial with branding. If you have that type of connection, that means she's successful in her branding. That means she successfully accomplished what she needs to accomplish. And she's not doing that trying to be a copycat of somebody else.
Not at all.
It's only one Earth Mama, right?
And that's what I was going to put on here right now is how can you stand out? Because that's what you mentioned just a couple of minutes ago when you were talking. You were saying you wanted to stand out, which your story is what makes you stand out. There's no competition when it comes to your story because nobody can be you. You know what I mean? And so, but a lot of times people see branding and they see like comparisons and things like that, and they get into this hole because they want to look like that. And that's not the goal. You don't want to look exactly like another person's branding story. That's the unique part of what your branding is.
I believe that the way that you stand out is when you take fire and you put it on your unique desire. So you take, for instance, I have so many different layers to my personality, right? I have so many different layers to my style. You see the locks right now, but I can rock a 30-inch weave like nobody's business, okay? Bright red, pink, whatever I'm feeling. I have this really hippie, down to earth, organic, holistic type of vibe that I've been embracing more and more because I've been on a self-love journey, honestly. When you're on television, you get so used to having it on, you don't feel comfortable with it off. You feel like you're not doing something right. So for somebody else, it might be hard for them to put that on, right? Because they don't feel comfortable. They don't feel like, do I look good or do I look like I'm doing too much, right? But the reality is that woman may have a really fierce part to her, and she desires to tap in more to that fierceness. And the people that she wants to connect with are doing the same thing, tapping into that fierceness. So she may not wear red bottoms every day, but she might bring them into a shoot because that might be a part of her that she needs to express. She may grew up being told that she couldn't have the finer things in life. But she's branding, and her branding, she's branding that you can have the finer things in life. And 9 times out of 10, when you're building something as far as a business and a brand, it's because you have a story that's attached to it and connected to it. And a lot of times that story is not done and complete. That story a lot of times is playing out. But what happens at times, people don't want to push out. They don't want to brand because they get this imitation. They feel like they're imitating. They imitation syndrome. It's the actual name for it. But they feel
imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome. Yeah. They feel like they're imposing. But really what it is you're taking something that is a desire and you're putting fire on it. You're manifesting. Your branding is manifesting. You really are. You are putting out the energy out there. You are creating the culture, right? Because branding is not just what people see as far as pictures and photos. Branding is how you treat people. Branding is how you talk to people.
That's right.
There's layers to branding. And some people do good with, a lot of people do good with the back end. They may be like, okay, I'm doing things right on the back end, but they like, I just need to push out to that front end, but they feel that imposter syndrome. So that's why they can never stand out, because they feel like they're doing too much. You see what I'm saying?
They can never just be creative and just allow themselves to express in different types of ways because they feel like, oh, okay, people don't really see me like that, or people don't really, excuse me, asking yourself too many questions.
Right.
You know what I mean? Sometimes you question yourself to, that's so important.
They can't be free. And that is really why, that's part of the reason I started I Am Free Society, to help people be free from imposter syndrome, be free from others' expectations, be free from the expectations we put on ourselves. You know, I gotta always be this certain type of way, you know, even with me as a woman, if you go on my social media, the last 2 pictures that I posted are showing more skin. I'm in the water, I'm showing more skin. Usually that's not a very comfortable space for me. Right?
I would have never known that.
No, that's usually not a very comfortable space for me because my father is a pastor. Right? And this is how what it is, you know? And so I'm like, I'm always thinking about, well, how's this person going to feel? How's they going to feel? And I just, you know what? The pictures are out there now. And guess what? My parents went and commented on the pictures. They like the pictures.
Right. There you go.
I'm worrying myself about some pictures that they like. So a lot of times you just got to take that leap of faith to try something different and try something out the box. A lot of times, you know, I know we're asking, how can we stand out? And so definitely you want to put the fire in your desire. So for instance, if you want to show something in your branding, take that and multiply it times 10. Ask yourself, how can I exponentially get this message across? And so for me, for instance, one photo shoot was for hair, right? For weaves. And I really wanted to get the fabulosity of the hair. That was the message I was pushing across, but also fun and personality. So I had my models, usually you just see like here and up a lot of the times. I had diverse models because I wanted to push diversity from all different.
I love that.
Yes. They had on very minimal clothes, like a black Tubi here and some black Daisy Dukes, but the hair was like 40, 50 inches long. You couldn't even really, at that time, people weren't even really selling hair that long like that because I was on the hair trend before it was a hair trend, right? And so we had to get creative. We had to sew wefts together and get really creative.
Get that long
hair that's 20 inches and make it, 50 inches. And so it was out of the box. It was stretching me. I had to get creative, but that helped my sales go through the roof because it set me apart. They was like, oh, whoa, wait a minute. You
What
can
is
jump
this?
rope there.
Mhm.
Oh, wait a minute. They don't have just the regular shoots where they're just trying to look sexy. These girls are throwing up peace signs. They're having fun. They got their legs kicked up. Like, this is a different brand here. They're diverse. It's not just black. It's not just white. It's everybody, and so you have to be willing to stretch yourself in order to stand out and to come outside of your comfort zone. Now, one thing I want to talk about is what people feel like prevents them from standing out. Sometimes people have limiting beliefs, and I think that's important. Sometimes they may know how or have ideas, but they feel like they don't have the resources, or they feel like they don't have the knowledge. Right.
This is important. These things, the distractions or the things that you are focused on, because when you remove those, you naturally elevate, you naturally float. What's stopping you? Sometimes it's the big question. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Right. And so it's like, okay, how do I stand out? Okay, but how do I like get unstuck? Because I feel like I just don't have the pieces together. I think it's really important to, first of all, realize that we live in an abundant earth. So anything that you don't know or anything that you don't have, you can have and you can know, or you can connect with someone who has or knows. And so there are people out here who, have the knowledge that you don't have. So maybe with the hair thing, if I couldn't figure that out myself, which actually now that I think about it, I didn't do it by myself. I had a hairstylist there.
You had some help. It was be okay with getting some help.
Right. And at the time where I didn't have the finances like that. So I was able to barter with the hairstylist. I was able to promote that hairstylist, and I was able to give her a lot of business in exchange for helping me with the shoot. And so I'm just having flashbacks to my grassroots days. You got to be willing to do what you have to do. You have to be willing to get radical if you want to stand out. This is not a time for you to just be like, I don't know. You have to have the audacity to believe in yourself and to get radical. And that's what's going to help you stand out. And and don't be negative thinking, oh, people don't want to work with me and this and that. It's you. It's not them. It's the people that you're attracting. It's the people you need to change and work on you and your energy and get radical so you can attract the right team to help you stand out. Right.
Absolutely.
And when you see the right team, take action to connect with that team so you can stand out. And so that's what I would say would help out a lot.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. I was just talking about that on a coaching session the other day. Just that you being okay. I was the biggest thing I was saying was just start with your branding. Just start posting, just start doing some things, because you're going to learn so much. A lot of times it's more mindset. I would say it's probably like 60 or 70% mindset than anything else. And people also get a little I guess confused and a little bit distracted by the numbers. They see all these numbers of people who have been building for some time, who have been, maybe putting out a video every week or going live each week, and they compare. There was a photo I saw on Instagram the other day that was amazing. It said, appreciate small beginnings. And it has 6 different companies and these little small shacks that they started in that people don't even remember, such as Disney and Harley and Microsoft and all these. And people don't even remember that they started so small. So be okay with knowing that if you're just starting, you're just starting. You don't have to have the same numbers. Whoever you're connecting to, give it your all, give it your best, show fully up. So I agree with that 100%.
I see Miss Gayla. I think she has a question on here.
She was just saying one of the hardest things to do is leave your comfort zone, which is absolutely true for so many women. It seems like that's a natural thing for you to leave your comfort zone. Am I misreading that, or?
Do not be deceived. I am just really good at when I'm showing up. I'm showing up when I am showing up, but when I'm not showing up, it's painful. And because sometimes I'm in my comfort zone and I know I'm in my comfort zone, and I literally have to shake myself out of my comfort zone sometimes. We have seasons in life. It's ebb and flow. In some seasons, you may be feeling more comfortable, being uncomfortable. And then other seasons may shift, and it may be a different category, a different business, a different area, but you just don't want to move out your comfort zone. You just really kind of have a stagnant energy. I think sometimes people need to know, like, I go through the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think like you have to be honest about that, because most influencers you see online, you just see all the good. You see the
Mm-hmm.
highlights, you see the positives. Nobody's talking about the days where it's hard to like get out of bed. Nobody's talking about the days where you just want to press the reset button on your day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Nobody's talking about that.
That's not what the promotion is about, or that's not
That's
what's
not
on
what
that.
the promotion
Exactly.
is about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So be encouraged in your process. And then I'm going to keep it all the way real with you. Every season is not a season to push out and brand.
Hmm. It might be a season for self-care. It might be a season for making sure you are passionate about what you're branding. Because one thing that's huge for me is if you tie your story and you tie your passion to your business or to your nonprofit, it makes everything easier. Because this is important for a reason. I always like to give the description of one of our nonprofits. We do a lot of work with domestic violence, with helping them set up their businesses, set up nonprofits, have self-care, things like that. I'm passionate about it because it's my story. You know what I mean? I'm passionate about it because I realize that it still exists. I realize that self-sufficiency is the number one reason why a lot of women get tied up into domestic violence situations. I realized that in one of our with one of our programs just a couple of weeks ago, a woman opened up a bank account for the first time. She didn't have those financial that financial knowledge and things like that because she was so dependent upon the situation that she was in. And so when I see those things, I want more people to know about them. And the truth is, when it comes to nonprofits, there are people, most people give to nonprofits, give to at least their church and, you know, a handful of other nonprofits. So if they know that you're actually passionate about this area, and a lot of times people have a story that's also tied to the area and they want to give back in that way, but they don't want to necessarily do the work or necessarily link with the people or do programs, but they want to go ahead and donate. But if you're not talking about it and if you're not sharing your story and if you don't sound passionate about it, how can you translate that energy, you know? And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
And the truth is, our comfort zones are comfortable, but they're not really that comfortable because we're not really our happiest when we stay in a place that doesn't allow us to release our gifts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can settle and we can soothe in whatever ways we soothe, whether it's TV, relationships, like drugs, sex. We can
Mm-hmm.
soothe, but for so long.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just getting into it, y'all.
Get into it.
I'm just getting into it.
Yes.
I'm going to give y'all no surface level, nothing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You have to heal in order to be able to boldly share your story. And even if you're not completely healed, you have to be in the healing process. You have to be in the acceptance process. You have to accept, embrace the fact that you deal with fear.
Yes.
That alone is so hard when, and naturally you have people like myself who are overachievers, who can be perfectionists, you know, really ambitious. And it's like me, fear. No, I'm just procrastinating.
Mm-hmm.
Procrastinating is a mask, sis. It's a mask for fear.
That's right.
It's a mask for fear, or it's a mask to say you're not in alignment with what you're truly passionate about.
And that's a hard pill to swallow sometimes.
It's the
you have to really ask yourself, why are you doing what you're doing? Why is it important to you? Why are you, you know, and a lot of times, a lot of things that we do center around maybe our parents or center around maybe something that we saw, or maybe, you know, I've had so many people who have went full school and done and everything to become a lawyer or a teacher or whatever, all to realize that that was never their passion to begin with. It was just, they needed to be on some type of track. So they just picked a track. You know what I mean? And I always say, especially my son's 19, he's an artist, he's about to start traveling, very out the box, unorthodox type situation, but I absolutely love it because one of the things that I always say is if you're passionate, even if you, for my children, even if I've seen them become successful, quote unquote, financially or family wise, or what the world says is successful, if they're not happy,
Does it matter? Right.
Right. Doesn't matter. So, and that's the work that you're talking about. Sometimes you have to dig deep, spend some time with yourself, stop those soothing things that you just spoke of, so that you can start to really realize, why is it that I'm not happy? Or why is it that what am I looking for in this situation or that situation? And a lot of times it's because you're not you're not leveling up the way that you can.
And that makes me think about what we were talking about earlier, actually, Tracy. I was talking to one of my clients, and inspired action is what came up. Inspired action. Because we don't want to just take action. We want to take inspired action. So what is inspired action? Inspired action is when you already feel the blissfulness, the joy, the excitement, and the peace that comes with the end result.
Yes.
You feel it now. You can feel it in your skin. You can feel it when the hairs come up on your skin. You can feel it in your heart. You can feel it in your joy. You can feel it. You can really feel it. That is the work that is to be done if you are to get out of your comfort zone and take the inspired action to begin branding, even if that means baby steps of just showing up. Hey y'all, it's me, and so and when you are doing that work, it may mean you have an introverted period of time. During that time, stop guilting yourself. Stop beating yourself up, and continue to tell yourself, I'm going to release. I'm getting in alignment with my release, and when I release, it's going to get in alignment with the right people.
That's it. That's it.
As simple as that.
It's so simple. And then even with branding, it's so story based. You know your story. You know what's going on. You know why you're doing what you're doing. You know what lessons you've learned. Those are all of the different types of things you can post about. And it makes sense to post about because a lot of the nonprofits that are following and are doing nonprofit work, the biggest thing they want to do is create awareness or create help in a certain area of the community. The easiest way to do that is to be comfortable on social media and be comfortable sharing your story, be comfortable sharing what you're doing, because you can connect to so many more people than you would connect with sharing it one-on-one. So I think
also embracing your fears as well as your flaws, and realizing that your like transparency and openness with your flaws is actually what makes you flawless. So when you are able to show up and say, guys, it's been so hard for me to try to post, but here I am. This is my first post. I know y'all haven't heard from me in 3 years, but you know what I'm saying?
But I'm back.
Real. And I could fall off again, but if I do, y'all be patient with me. I want to bring y'all on this journey with me.
I love that. I love that. And you have to remember as well, one of the things that stood out from a client I was speaking with the other day was that you are an influencer no matter how many people are following you. You are influencing your family. If you got 10 people connected to your network, you're an influencer. So the best thing that you could do is be on your best level to develop yourself, because they're always watching you. Social media and branding is a way for you to be able to share that story and document
the story.
Share the story.
You said that. And what people miss about their story is they miss that the stories is what sells. The story is what secures your business is able to exchange value because they're able to connect. So if they can't connect with the story, whether it's the story of the company or the story of, connected to your life of why you started the company, like you need to have a strong story. Like, don't forget about your story, baby. It's so much gold in your story. And the irony is, the crazier your story is, the better.
The better. That's what makes you stand out. That's what makes you stand out. Like, oh, okay. Oh, wow. Oh, she actually resided at the transitional home where she now is on the board. Those are the different things that make you stand out, and you have to be okay. And that's what makes people connect. They're like, oh, okay, if she can do it, I can do it. Okay, I can understand that because I went through that. But if you're constantly trying to be surface or you're constantly trying to be like someone else, then you're just blending in. There's a quote I saw that said, if you're talking to everybody, you're talking to nobody.
Yes, because your story definitely makes you stand out. And it just makes me think of how you have influencers on social media, that you do have your influencers that just look good and they just post pictures and people follow them for that. And that's that, right? But you don't want that surface level because you don't know how happy they are in their personal life.
That's right.
You want some more depth. So I want you guys to be careful when you think of branding, not to think that you have to mirror something else that you saw online that may not speak to your story or your look or your ambiance, and may give a totally different persona. Because you, at the same time, you also have people who they don't wear a lick of makeup, a lick of nothing, honey. They don't even try to clean up the environment where they are. They be just as viral, but they true to who they are.
And it's something magnetic about that.
It is about owning who
Absolutely.
you are. It is. Even today, I want to keep it real with you guys. I like a lot of times when I do interviews, I like to at least pop on my lashes or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But today, I just hit my face with the olive oil, sis.
And that was what it was.
It's but on Saturdays, that's my vibe. So I'm like, you know what, Brooke? That's your vibe. If you don't feel like putting on lashes, don't put on lashes.
That's it. That's it. And try not to do much of the things that you don't feel like doing anyway. Is what the thing about it is, I always tell people when they're picking something or if they're still confused as to what their passion are or what their purpose is, I say, look at the things that you're passionate about and the things that you love and the things that ignite you, the things that naturally draw you. So the truth of the matter is when you're operating in that, when you're like, I'm doing this, so Brooke, when you're doing this, I'm calling you nicknames. Brooke. Okay. I got a niece named Brookie, guys, so I'll be calling her all kind of pet names.
My daddy calls me that.
That's really what I do when I love people. I start coming up with pet names for them, like it just.
Where's this coming,
sis? So what I was saying though was that we'll talk about a little story time about the whole day and how it went as far as the branding day and give you guys some physical steps you can do as well to improve your branding. But one of the things I noticed was your passion exuded the entire, and the people that you were connected to, that same passion was in them, in their team as well. You could tell that this was something you love to do. And that at the same time, I've done things with all types of people on all types of level, whether it be a doctor, a lawyer, whatever, that you could tell like, why did you do this? This is not.
You don't like what you're doing.
You don't like this at all. And I don't want you working on me. True story, true but funny story. At a point in time, I was considering getting my tubes tied. Okay.
Real? Okay.
And I was considering it was either gonna be me or my hubby. We was debating at the point in time. We never did anything. We just decided we just want to flow. But that's all. But anyways, when I was considering, I went and talked to a doctor, and I said, well, what types of things do you use? And she was like, she mentioned something about, well, the first time I did it a couple of weeks ago, it just kind of depends because I just started here or something like that. She started using these newbie words. And I was like, oh man, I don't want no newbies up in there. If you don't know exactly what's going on, if you can't answer no questions, then that's okay. Furthermore, she started giving the vibes of she really not just didn't know, but really just wasn't passionate about. And she just really wasn't, you could tell she just wasn't fully there. And when you can become intuitionally strong, you can read that. And you like, you know what? I don't want to, if somebody is giving me a foot massage, I want it to be somebody who loves feet. They love everything. That's who
they love corns on the feet.
They love the core. They love every part, and they are just, this is their thing. You know, those are the people you want to work with. Seriously. And the truth of the matter is, most people, a lot of percentage of the world are doing things that they don't love. And our underlying goal is really to get more people attached to their passion, because that's when you really start to make change, when you're doing something that you're passionate about.
Yes.
You know, Gayla said, what inspired y'all to go into coaching others? What inspired you, Brooklyn?
For me, it was my experience of identifying that I had a gift at a young age, feeling this fire on the inside of me, right? And then having the challenges and the traumas and the abuses of life beat down on that gift, beat down on that confidence, beat down on that boldness. Pardon my phone, guys. I thought it was on silent.
It's okay. Pretty sound.
But going through the fire and at one point feeling really hopeless. And at one point losing my complete identity. You know, I was 14, pregnant, homeless, 21. By the age of 21, I was looking at 10 years in prison for running a brothel. I overdosed on drugs, almost died, and almost lost my life. Almost lost my life. And when I was in that jail cell, I had a conversation with God, and I said, God, if you just give me another chance, I will use my gifts to help others ignite their gifts inside and overcome and heal holistically from the traumas that they've had and become the leaders in our communities and create a domino effect of love, light, purpose, peace, and prosperity. So for me, it came from a really just deep place. Coaching called me, I didn't call it. And one of my gifts has always been encouraging people. So even when I had the brothel, honey, excuse my French, but my hoes, they might have been like, girl, my license got cut off. And I'm like, girl, you is the light, girl. It's like we about to make some money. Even in my heart was to motivate and encourage, but I was just going about it the wrong way. They got more gifts than what's between their legs, so we need to work on those other gifts.
Right. But it was just a transition.
It wasn't
so true. That is so true. That's the same thing for me. For me, I grew up in the hoods of Detroit, and I saw, like, I became in love with business at a young age. I started doing hair when I was like 12, and it was those little tiny braids. And I just realized that when those was out or whatever, what they call micros, and I would be braiding hair, 12, falling asleep and stuff. I have clients downstairs. My mom would be calling me like, girl, come get this child. We've been braiding hair for 2 days or whatever. But I just knew I could make some money, and this is how money works. This is how business works. I started managing a little pizza place where I was walking back and forth with the money at 12. I've always looked mature too, but I was just all about that hustle. You know what I mean? My sister told my husband when we first met, like, my sister a hustler. That was the first thing she had to say. I'm like,
that you are.
My sister a hustler. And so, but what happened was we eventually moved. My mom went to school during that time. We moved. We started working in different fields and different areas. And I started a daycare. I started some professional businesses outside of doing hair and running the pizza place at the liquor store and things like that. And what I started to realize was a lot of the people that I knew that were in those hoods of Detroit, they had great business ideas. They had great business schools. They even had great work ethic, sometimes all going to the wrong place. And I was like, you know what? I want to reach back and say, you can use this and you can be able to expand it into a legitimate business. You can use this energy and you can create something just like anyone else. The biggest thing that I saw was that they didn't believe in themselves and maybe a little bit of know-how. You know what I mean? But with those two things, you can start to create whatever it is. I'm a firm believer is if it's a vision, it's a vision for a reason. There are people who have think tanks where they're trying to get visions. So sometimes as entrepreneurs, we get a little nervous, like, oh my gosh, I want to do so much. I'm getting all these visions. I'm getting all these downloads. There are people that literally pay for that because they are not inspired. So just having that inspiration and having that vision in itself always tells the story as to what's to come, because that means that your vision is connected to some people. So I wanted to be that support. I'm all for just the support. And I know that coming from the same thing, a hard life, I realized that support is few and far in between. You know what I mean? You have to really truthfully support somebody, really truthfully stand in their corner and even tell them the hard things. That's my toughest part as a coach sometimes. You're like, that's the start. Whenever you hear that start noise, you know something behind it. They go there. You're like, I can't co-sign for you in this behavior and what you're talking about because it's not your highest elevated behavior. You're going to be uncomfortable.
My favorite line is, I don't feel sorry for you.
Okay. That automatically hit like, okay.
That's my favorite line. I don't feel sorry for you. I feel excited for you. Because now that you feel this pain, you can begin to make the change.
Yes.
That's it.
And tell me how many times have you had a low point and this turns into your highest point and you realize in hindsight, like, oh man, if I didn't hit that low, how was I ever going to really hit that high? You know what I mean? How was I ever going to have anything to compare it to?
Or better yet, just try to think of a high point where you didn't have a low point before.
That's right.
Is that a thing? I don't think it is.
There you go.
That'd be low to go high.
It's all part of the process, really accepting and embracing that process.
Yes.
Let's give a couple of tips and talk about the day-to-day. When it comes to as an influencer and as someone who has a larger following and things like that. And I know that, like you said, sometimes you go in your ebb and flows of being highly posted and not highly posted. Some people who are not linked with social media, they don't understand the basics of how often they're just supposed to post and how that flows. If you said, okay, listen, you need to post 3 times on your story, maybe post one time on your actual feed per day. Yes. What does the behind the scenes of that really look like?
Well, first of all, I think that a lot of times people think because social media is a free platform, except for when you're paying for ads, that you don't have to play the game. And you do have to play the game in order for your post to be seen. But the goal is first for you to start being consistent. So the first goal is just challenge yourself for 30 days to post once a day or to go live once a day. I think that that's important. So before you get to B, C, and D, and start at A and challenge yourself and get yourself loosened up. Then I would say once you do that, I would start to say pay attention to your hashtags. Start putting hashtags. If specifically if you're trying to build up your following and you're trying to build in more, bring in more business versus nurturing the audience that you already have. So like for me, a lot of times I have a pretty big following. And quite honestly, I'm trying to work on nurturing the audience that I already have and paying them attention and responding to their comments, because that'd be my biggest challenge. I'd be like, 75 comments. How much respond? And so, but if you are in that space where you're trying to get 50 comments or trying to get 75 comments, you're going to want to use hashtags. Use hashtags that are in alignment with your business, your services, your offerings, or people that would use your business and services, what they would be looking up, or your ideal client, what they would be looking up with those hashtags. So, so if you are a fitness coach, then you want to put hashtag fitness coach. You want to put hashtag nutrition. You want to put hashtag meal planning. You want to put hashtag keto diet. You want to put all of the different things, not just fitness coach. Put the things that they would be looking for. Put yourself inside their body. If I was them, what type of things would I be looking? I might not realize I need a fitness coach yet. So what
you might not even know that terminology.
So what other things am I looking for if I'm trying to get my fitness together? And so that's one basic thing you can do, your hashtags. Another thing is, because the algorithm has been changed where it's harder for your followers to see you, you want to post reels. Reels are really, really hot right now. So those reels are really short, boom. And the thing is, don't tell yourself, I don't know how to do it. Actually try to learn.
And have fun while you're doing it. Have fun trying to learn,
Yeah,
absolutely.
YouTube University will get you all the way together. So don't allow yourself to make excuses for yourself. Just get radical. And with the reels, they can be fun, they can be simple. Don't try to go in and do the most advanced reel. Just get started with the reel. Also, you have your stories, so you can share all your stories. Another thing that's really good is to go reshare posts from other people, and that maybe people that follow them are the same type of people that can use what you have, right? So if there's a page where it's like holistic supplements, people who are into holistic health supplements, they care about their health. And if there's a product that you use from them that you really enjoy, share a post of you using the product. Or if they post that product,
I love that.
Yeah, reshare that. They may repost you. Now you just got free advertisement to that person's audience because you supported something that you love and use anyway. And the people that are aligned with you, they're gonna see that and they're like, okay, who is this? You know what I mean?
And when you post these things right here, though,
listen,
just throw it on, boom, ready to go.
That's your thing. Like, you need a whole rap license because you look good in the raps, and so I just think that doing those type of things are really good. And then once you start to build up traction, build up your page, one thing before you even are doing that, you want to make sure that visually you kind of have an idea, at least in the direction that you want to go. So if you already have a company name, you want to think about how you want people to feel. Okay. You want to think about the top 3 words that align with your company. You want to pull up the colors. There are colors that align with those words. And that will kind of help you as far as if you're trying to get together your branding colors, which are important because colors have feelings and energies behind them. Even if you look at McDonald's and Burger King and KFC, you notice a lot of them use red and yellow, which evokes hunger. So they're programming us to eat. So when you see that red and that yellow, those same colors, just start to look at all the different food companies and all of the colors and start to really think about it. Chick-fil-A, you know what I mean? Wendy's.
It's a lot of red.
A lot of that red.
Yeah, a lot of yellow too. Yeah, that's true.
That consistency is not an accident. So
Mm-hmm.
you want to look at what are these top corporations doing with branding? They're being intentional about their colors. They're being intentional about their words. They're being intentional about the photos that they're putting in, the words that they're using, and how they're evoking and who they're targeting. It's not a mistake that's the Popeyes in every single hood. It's not an accident.
Mm-hmm. That research.
It's a
They're
reason.
also studying what's going on. You know, for a long time when I first started with the nonprofit world, I had a couple of people who would say, I can't get your services because they're this must be it must not be good services because your prices are not up. Because I was always big on trying to make it reasonable, make it where everybody can afford it and things like that. But there were literally people who come to me like, this must not be good service because of the prices or whatnot. And I'm like, okay, I can't, you know. But what I realized, they were right. I hadn't taken the time to look and see what now, because of when I started it was at certain prices, but it's changed. You always want to know what's going on. You always want to research your field because there are other people in your field that may be competition or may not even be competition. They may be what is the word I'm looking for? They may actually help with your services or actually complement your
Your
services and
partner.
things like that. Someone said there was a book. It's called, if you want to listen to it, I love the Audible. I know you listen to Audible too. It's called
Yeah.
Earth is Hiring. And one of the things it mentioned was business being a hexagon. So always looking at how you can help other people who may be, for an example, we work with business coaches as well because our highlight is nonprofit coaching. We work with our design team. Marika's on our design team. She said great information. Thanks, Marika, for logos.
This is my
That's not
nonprofit
what we
coach.
do.
I'm sorry, I had to get that out.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And so everybody is able to work together. I think a lot of times, especially in the minority area, and women are so used to competing sometimes that you forget that, wait a minute, I could lift my sis and lift at the same time. And actually, the more I lift the sisters around me and the brothers around me, the more I lift as well.
And when people think like that, you know what I think? You is smart, you is wise, you got it, you is good looking. Yes.
Yes, because that's relationship.
Yeah.
That's what relationship is. People don't want to. There was a big thing with the boss energy when it first started of just, that boss meant hardcore. Boss meant you cut here or whatever, or slam somebody there or whatever. And that's not the way of of business anymore, especially since the pandemic. People want to know why you do what you do. People want to know that you treat other people well. People want to know that you're authentic. All these things are important.
That's so true.
And so, like Brooklyn was saying about being intentional, one of the things I've done to help make posting a little easier is intentionally write down the different things that our brand should be sharing about. You know what I mean? How to's when it comes to nonprofit. Motivation. We're big on motivation. You can do this because that's huge. If you don't feel like you can do this, if you don't feel like this is something that can really be manifested, that's going to drain everything down. So we're big on manifestation, peace, finding your purpose and things like that. Then also business how-tos, funding, income streams. Do the same thing for your nonprofit. Get a list of things that you can actually post on. So you're not, do you ever get that post? Sometimes people are like, they just really don't know what to post. And I think that's when they're not tied to the story.
So I think that definitely being tied to the story is definitely a big part of it. And then I think too, sometimes where people get stumped is because they feel like I want to give people really strong, practical advice. I want to sound very well put together and very well informed about everything that I'm talking about because I want to feel like I have it all together. So you have that vibe, right? So in your head, you overthinking. So when it's time, you have all this knowledge in you, but for some reason, when you get in front of that camera, you're like,
Right.
And so one thing that helps me is I love reading, but honestly, I don't get to like read a physical book every day, but I keep them back here like on deck. But I like to watch videos or listen to audios every single day where I'm learning something, right? Or relearning something. Because sometimes you may hear things, but it's not the first thing, but it doesn't matter because you need to apply them at the highest level. And even when you're applying them, you have to keep yourself in remembrance of what you know.
Yes. That is a point right there. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's a word. So then what happens is a lot of times for me, when I'm going live a lot, like I did a 30-day manifestation madness challenge in March, and I was going live every single day, and I was telling everybody to do give yourself a challenge to do something every single day for the next 30 days. It's going to help you to manifest what you want to do, right? And so for me, it was getting back into my posting. It was because I was in a period of time where I was doing a lot of planning, a lot of organizing, a lot of preparation work. And I actually had plenty of clients. I didn't want to take on any clients at the time. And I was like, I don't really need to post like that right now. But when it was time for me to get back into the post, and I was like, okay. So what I would do was build myself up first. So when I get ready to go live, it may be right after, and I may write down 3 points that stuck out to me. And these points are
that
strong.
is so good. That is so good.
Right.
It reflects you going live, and what you're talking about reflects how much work you've been doing on yourself. And so you're saying you need to do the work on yourself. You need to have the information to where if you live all the time, somebody might be in the elevator with you that could be a donor if you able to get the information across in a clean, concise, focused way.
Yeah. And so that will help you. You know, sometimes you need somebody to remind you what you know, or sometimes you just need some fresh information. So we have that, an abundance of that online. So writing down those 3 points, and then now you feel more confident when you're bringing it. You can glance down at your notes, and you don't have to do no full. A lot of times people try to write out like a whole 5-page letter what they want to say. It can become distracting because you try to overthink it. So your best bet is to write down the main points you want to hit. Be natural, be you, and just flow. And sometimes you can just hit those points, and when you hit them, you'll be inspired for what you need to say after you just got the point out, right? And so that's been really helpful for me, being consistent. Another thing that I wouldn't be doing you guys justice if I didn't share with you is your environment. It is so important. It's hard for anybody, no matter how much you know, how gifted you are, how smart you are, how aligned with your purpose. If your environment is in chaos, first of all, it's going to be hard for you to focus. But if your environment is crafted if you have a space crafted for you to go live and to, create content, then it's encouraging. It's encouraging. And not only that, you can use your space and your environment to brand.
That's it. Because all those things can be thought about. The colors of your flowers that I always love every time I see them can be thought about. It's little. Well, that's one of the big things I learned during our branding day was it's a lot of little things. It's not a huge, just the little tweaks. Just the little, okay, let me think about these earrings for a minute. Let me think about this for a minute. It's not, sometimes people overthink things, and I can definitely follow.
Well, and then also sometimes people think that everything has to cost $1 million, and you can have money and still be frugal. And I think that that's to be appreciated because I'm frugal, child, and my whole family got money and they frugal too. Okay. This right here, not there. My dream sign was $1.
Wow.
People love my dream sign.
I love that dream sign. I absolutely love it. Wow.
My flowers, Amazon's finest.
Amazon's finest.
You know what I'm saying? My curtains, Amazon's finest. My little flowers in the backdrop behind it, I don't even know because I done had them so long. Okay. So
do what you can. You don't have to. Sometimes people do get in that mode where I need this camera, I need this backdrop, I need this this setting, I need this. You can put something together.
Yeah.
I will never forget. There was a young lady that I met in work in serving with nonprofits. I went over to her house, and she had the most beautifully designed home. And when she told me, I was like, how do you do this? This is so gorgeous. All these pieces come together. She was like, well, I get like about 70% from thrift stores. Then I go and get 30% from the other stores, and then I put them together in the right way or whatnot. But you would have thought it's not always what something necessarily costs. Sometimes it's just how you put it together and you working with what you have. That's a good point, because a lot of people feel like they may not have what they need to be able to start.
Either that, or they just feel like I need to be putting that money elsewhere. Like my child about to go to college, or people have
valid. Okay, right.
They be trying to just choose. And it's like, well, you can still choose you, and you can still choose to create that environment for you. Lighting is important. Natural lighting is some of the best lighting you can get, though. And so I think that's important. Your lighting. Also with your phone, if you do have a 10, I encourage you to get the 12 if you can. Or if you got the iPhone 2, you definitely need to come up to another one because honestly, you don't want blurry. You do like honestly, we are in a society right now where if you got a super duper blurry phone, it's not a go for people. People gonna keep scrolling past your content. You want to stand out, like we were talking about. We want to get their attention, so you don't want to be doing all these reels, these stories, having your colors right, having everything right, and you got the first Android that ever came out.
Right. This is not going
to That seems like an obvious tip, but people be right over their heads, you know, sometimes, and it's okay. It's okay. Get you another phone. So I would just say those little things are really good at helping you. And then also another thing is getting onto podcasts and interviewing on different platforms. Like right now, we're doing an interview. It's really good because both of our audience, like I'm going to share this with my audience and they'll get to see you, and your audience is getting to see me right now live. You know, so that's what you call cross branding.
Yeah.
And you want to cross brand, like that's one of the fastest ways to really grow your audience is through cross branding. And so if you're like, if you have the audacity to say, I believe in myself and I've started to create a page that I can be proud of, and I have a product or a service that I can be proud of, and I'm ready for people to be exposed to that, then that is the time that you want to start partnering with other influencers. So that way you guys can do some fun things. Maybe you can be interviewing them. So like, for instance, I have a podcast that I'm going to be launching called Star Podcast. This is the first time I've talked about it on a public platform.
Hey, get my tambourine.
And so I'm really excited about it. One of the reasons was I wanted to highlight and connect with stars. Stars to me are seekers, teachers, and reachers. You know, I wanted to give people a platform because I'm a platform creator. I always have been, whether it was a fashion show, a television show, producing a movie. I've always been a platform creator. So I'm like, okay, I want to do that. So that's really organic for me. But also, you best believe in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, oh, I'm about to, I want to interview Oprah. I want to interview, I have an ambitious interview list. But I don't, you go for it because you never ever know. There's this guy who has the Underdog podcast, and I suggest you guys check him out. This guy came out of jail, rock bottom, nothing. Everybody's like, who is this little guy trying to start this little podcast? And he has interviewed some of the biggest players in the game, and he has a top ranking podcast. So it doesn't matter. And he looks like a gangster. So, he looked like he still got it. Okay. So you have to believe in yourself first, and none of this matters. And if you need help believing in yourself, check out people that are already doing what it is that you are striving to do.
That's it. Absolutely. Yeah. And sometimes just blending those two together and really starting to work with other people, like you said, and be okay with. One of the things that I like to do is I like to follow coaches with all different backgrounds of following. Some people have a couple of hundred following, some people have a couple of thousand following, and just see how because you want to, when you go to reach out to someone, tell us about that a little bit, because I'm sure several people have reached out to you. How does a person come correct and make that connection and talk to someone where it's a win-win? Would it just be, is it just like freestyle messaging, or is there some specific points that you can talk about when they're reaching out to other people?
First of all, if the person has protocol on their page, you do want to follow the protocol, right?
Number one.
Yes. Follow the protocol. So if they say email or fill out this form, follow the protocol. But then it is also okay to reach out personally. But what I like to do before, honestly, I even go through protocol, what I'm reaching out, whether I'm booking a celebrity for an event or whether you're booking them for a podcast, right? I like to engage with them on social media in an organic way. So I start liking all their pictures. I start commenting on all their stuff to the point where they can't do anything but notice me. I like this person always liking my pictures. They like, dang, this person like 40 pictures.
You start with the support. Start by giving some energy.
Yeah.
Start with what you can give, not with, hey, can you tell me blah 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 blah. That's your first question to come out your mouth. How you can give me something.
I start sharing a post. Like I had a conference back in December. Before I ever asked my keynote speakers to come and speak, they already knew who I was because of social media, not just because I got a phone, but because I was intentional in walking towards them. You know what I'm saying? Sharing their stuff, supporting them. If y'all, if you need to get a book started, this is the best book coach you need to go to. You see what I'm saying? Like getting out there doing that. So when I send a formal request, and then I get in your DM and I'm saying, hey, I just wanted to let you know that my team sent a request. I've been following you and supporting you for a while. I just love what you're doing. I have XYZ coming up and I would love to have you. So I look forward to hearing from your team.
I love that. And then it comes after that. So they already, not to mention, more than likely they'll actually get the message, because I just realized, and being not a newbie Instagram, but a newbie poster, I guess, on there, is that you won't even necessarily get the message unless Instagram has deemed that y'all actually have an organic, authentic connection. So when they see those likes and when they maybe possibly also link to your page and see that, then they're more likely to actually even get the message to begin.
Exactly.
That's huge. That's huge. I don't want anyone to skim over that. To start with service. Start with how you can give. Start with how you can. Don't come off as someone that just wants to drain and figure out a way that they can come up in the situation, but not actually give.
And one important thing that we haven't mentioned is make sure that your bio is optimized for what you do.
Oh, okay. Let me write that. That's a personal note because I got to look at my bio.
Yes.
Let me take that. Yes, that's true.
Yes.
Because that's what we go to.
I'm about to go get my phone real quick. I just want to read my bio to you guys.
Yeah. Let's do that. Definitely. Okay. Underdog Podcast. Thank you for putting that up there too, Marika. I'm gonna check it out as well.
Yeah.
The Underdog Podcast. I love how that sounds even.
Yes.
You know, he's owning, even in the name, he's owning.
He's
Underdog.
I'm an underdog. Are you gonna fool me or not? Like,
that's it. Straight up. And that's the things that stand out to people when it comes to branding and really like finding something that stands out.
Exactly. You have the audacity to be like, yep, I am the underdog, and the underdogs always come up. Let's go.
That's right. Go ahead and read yours.
Guys, you guys know I'm multi-talented. So outside of my coaching, I have my entertainment stuff. So it is multifaceted, but it is niched as well. So I create TV star, actress, producer. I activate life, biz, coach, speaker. I help women launch into purpose. Apply for a free strategy called below.
I love that.
Right?
I love that.
Mm-hmm. And then it's pointing down. When they click on there, they can, there's an application you can apply. Because I do a lot of group coaching and stuff with women, but I also do coach men. I also do work with youth. I do a lot of different things, but I'll try to put all of those specifics in my bio. It wasn't even enough character for that, number one.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Number two is already loaded. Mm-hmm. Number three, even though I do work with different types of people, I still niched it to women. I still niched it to purpose, in that that's probably what I most enjoy out of all my coaching. Yeah. I love my men. Uh-huh. But women, we can just relate in different ways sometimes.
Absolutely.
So that's what I have on here. So I rarely get male clients, and that's okay with me because I'm targeting. And if I do have a male client, then I know he's really, really, really in alignment with me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so just optimizing your bio for what you do. Linktree is really good. So if you have multiple links that you need to use, Linktree is basically a website where you can take, if you have multiple websites or you have multiple form links that you want people to have access to, it can all be on one page really easily. And you can put your Linktree link here and they can get access to all of your links. And organize that. I think that's a good tool for you guys to use. Also, one other thing I would say is scheduling out your social media. If time management is an issue for you, I would definitely consider using a scheduling app like Later. There's so many different ones out there, but just remember, even with you scheduling your posts, your lives, your stories, your reels, your things that get you your traction, you can't necessarily schedule those. So you need to be prepared to still do those things and put that in your calendar based on what you want your results to be. And so
do you do like a content calendar planning, or do you do freestyle, or a mix of both?
I do a content calendar whenever I have a marketing campaign coming out. So I'll do, usually it's 30 to 90 days when I plan out my content, and then I usually go on hiatus and I shut down and I'm just like, because honestly, social media is a tool for me. Social media is not necessarily a lifestyle. I don't own a television. I don't watch TV. I use social media purely because Bravo TV told me one day, ma'am, you are a celebrity. Can you please get an Instagram and a Facebook? And I was like, oh, really? Okay. That's how that conversation went. I realized like it was really profitable for my business, and it was really great to connect and make friendships and things like that too in the world that we're living in. And so that's kind of how my role goes. You have to create the plan for the lifestyle that you want. So for me, I don't want to always be thinking about social media 365.
Right.
So my plan is not to always have content 365. Some people may say, okay, you want to do that. You don't want to ghost your audience and this and that, but it's okay. I'm okay with them missing me.
Yeah. And you have to find out what works for you as well. That's the most important thing in everything is finding out what works for you and what works with the lifestyle that you want to be able to live. The last goal I'll give, and we'll wrap up unless anybody has any additional questions. And all of Queen Brooklyn's links is going to be below, or her link is going to be below, so you can know about if you want to actually get a branding shoot done, or if you want to do a consultation. She's actually going to be doing some consultations for our clients specifically, but she does the consultation work via Zoom, and then she also does some live stuff that we got to do as well. So we can get all the detailed information through those things. But one of the last things I wanted to make sure I said was, when I was or as I'm still elevating fitness wise and health wise, there was a strategy that someone told me about that I thought was huge. It's the simplest thing. But basically, they said, instead of thinking about the end goal, like I want to lose 50 pounds, or like I want to, think about the things you have to do every day and make that your goal. So I want to get on the treadmill every day for 15 minutes. I want to make sure I do some lifting every day for 15 minutes. I want to eat a salad every day. Things like that. That's the same thing that you can do for your marketing, is instead of thinking about, I want all these numbers, or I want to do this, I want to do that. What is the thing that you need to do every day? If that's a challenge, like, you know what, I'm going to show up on social media every day for 30 days. And if you do that challenge, remember this part, because I forgot this part, that when you show up, give the equal time amount for showing up and an equal time amount for engaging, because it's so important to also engage with the community that you're showing up for, not hit and run. They call it hit and run. Post my stuff, I'm out of there. I want to comment. I want you to comment, but I don't want to comment on nobody's stuff. You know what I mean? And so learn both of those. And really, if you're not a social media person, like I get all the time, a lot of people say that, well, I'm not a social media person. You're a people person, right? You're make your social media something that is welcoming for you. Follow people that excite you. You know what I mean? You're building relationships. Think about it as relationship building as opposed to social media.
Exactly. I think that's really good what you said about the engagement, because that creates loyalty. When people feel like they know you, they're like, oh, this person really responding. Okay, cool. Now when you have something to offer, they're willing to. And I think another thing too is, don't get on there like sell. Right. Sell. Like adding value is selling.
That's it. Because if someone gets some value from you for free, let me tell you how I am energetically. Once I get some value from you and I haven't paid you nothing for it, I'm looking for what products do they have? How can I support them? Because they didn't help me. They didn't change my whole mindset on something. Let me find a way. I don't want to be the person that's taking and not giving anything back. How can I support them? And I feel like everyone is in their root, even if they don't know it, they're that same way.
I'm not competitive, sis, but it's a competition for me. I'm like, let me see if I can give them the most value first. Like
yeah.
Let me drench them. Like, honestly, when I came down there to do your creative shoot, I wanted to knock you off your feet.
You knocked me off all the way off my feet.
I was intentional about that thing. I was like, we about to turn up. I had to turn it off. I wanted to go back again, go in the next day.
I know.
Remember when I told you, I was like, we're doing a video tomorrow.
Yeah. And I was like, we going to the pool. Come on.
But that's how passionate I am.
But that's good. That
and hopefully people are that passionate in what you're doing.
And you want to link with people. You want to link with people that are all just that passionate. Robert said splash.
Splash.
Brooklyn likes to splash people, y'all. Hands up.
Can I tell what had happened?
Go ahead, tell what happened.
Okay, so y'all gonna see the photos. We can't
Yes.
use them yet because they gonna break the internet.
Uh,
But she was
yes,
in this gorgeous robe on the ocean, and I wanted her to get really submerged in the water, like all the way from head to toe. But she had her feet in and she had her legs in. Then I kind of got her to sit down. She, I was setting her up the whole time because I knew it's hard when you're in the ocean. You dress, she's like, I don't want to. I just took that what I said, swoosh, splash. And I was like, oh, you wet now, my bad.
there we go. And we in there. And you just doing what's needed to be done in order to get the shot, to get the vision, to add that levity and joy. I didn't mind it at all.
You did okay, good.
I was shocked. I was just kind of.
It was a risk. I was like, she could cuss me out. I don't know how this is gonna go.
And let me tell y'all, Brooklyn, she like living on the edge like that. Like she don't know how this gonna go with her flights too. She be on the edge.
I was like, the plane be there when I get there.
And then the funny thing was, it was running behind. So everything ended up working out or whatnot anyway. Sometimes it's just about flowing and just kind of going with things. Someone told me, guys, and I'll leave it on this last note, that someone said you were talking about that habit and things like that and kind of getting stuck. We were talking earlier about getting stuck in a rut or, not stepping out of your comfort zone. And I heard someone say the other day that habit is not living. Most of the time what people realize is when you get too habitual, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, you're going on autopilot. You know what I mean? So that's what I feel like you're doing when you're shaking up, when you throw the water or whatever. Get out of that autopilot. Get out of your own head. Get into a different zone or whatnot. And that's really where that living zone is and where you're really pulled out of your comfort zone. And that's where you really start to enjoy and really embrace what's going on. You guys have done it before where you looked up and was like, man, I'm already at this location. I don't even know how I got here. I was so zoned out. And you want to be zoned in. You want to be zoned into life. You want to have surprises. You want to do something different. You want to see, you know what? I don't think nobody ever did this with a nonprofit before, but let's do it. You know what I mean? That's great. That's what we want. We want to see new things. Absolutely.
Yes.
And you represent that.
Oh, thank you, honey. I do like living on the edge, sis.
Yes, living life on the edge. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Queen Brooklyn, for coming on and coming back, even though we had some signal issues before, which, again, I was one of the entrepreneurs things, trying to do too much, y'all. I was trying to go live and do the brand and shoot and do this. And we had outfits for days. I mean, everything was on 10, and your team was a reflection of you as well, which
thank you. I love the team. They spirits for everything. They're hardworking and very passionate what they do. And what I would like to do is offer something free for your community.
Yes, y'all listening in on this part.
Give a gift. And so I would like to offer a free, I love my energy, Marika. You're so sweet. I'm gonna cry. Well, it's a reflection of you, dear. And so what I would like to offer is a free 30-minute strategy session for those who feel like they need to take a shift. They want to take their brand to another level and they're ready to brand their purpose specifically. This is not for someone who wants to brand something just to make money. Right. This is someone who wants to brand their gift and they know that their gift makes room for them and allows for prosperity and abundance at another level, and something that you can be passionate about. And so I want to talk to you guys about that. And I'm willing to do that for 30 minutes, not 31, not 32. I got you for 30 though. I got you for 30.
Guys, we're gonna have a link in here where you can complete that form and you can go ahead and have a one-on-one 30-minute. That's huge. 30 minutes. 30 minutes has changed my life before. So
I will say, Tracy, I'm probably going to limit it to about 5 people. Yeah.
So
I had some people.
First 5.
Yep.
First 5 guys right there. Absolutely. We appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you so much. I love being able to link my clients to people that can also serve them, that they can be able to benefit. And then you all can start to serve each other. You never know the connections that you'll make, guys. So thank you so much for that. And thank you everyone for joining in. Live every minute of every day. Live every minute of every day as if it's your last. Take care of yourself and your body. Mind and spirit will follow. Yes, Nana.
Yes.
That's Robert's mom right there.
Oh, hey,
yes, Nana. That's right. I love that. Now we're going to live every minute on this last song. Turn it up as we go out, y'all. See you next Saturday.
What you playing, girl, over there?
Turn it up.
Oh, there you go. That's my song, y'all. It's called Mental High.
That's No, she turned it down. We had a 101 concert, y'all. We had our own personal concert on the phone.
Listen.
That's my new jam. That's my jam.
Turn it up, turn it up. There you go.
All right, guys, we will see you all in the next live. You can listen to this on YouTube as well. That's Mental High. Yes, poolside concert, baby. You remember that?
Oh yeah, that was funny.
See you all in the next live and have a wonderful weekend. I'll talk to y'all soon.
Bye, guys.